Hello everyone, this is Dr.SHIVA. How are you? We're here on our rolling rally. All right, we're right here in front of the Boston Police Department, and we're in the center of Nubian Square on Malcolm X Boulevard. Thank you everyone for coming today. I'm running for U.S. Senate as a write-in campaign. Many of you know that we won the U.S. Senate primary on a landslide victory, but they threw the switch in the election system and defrauded us of an election. We all think that fraudulent elections occur in third world countries, that they only occur in banana republics. But I'm here to tell you that we do not have democracy in the United States. The election systems are rigged. We won in Franklin County by 10 points, where the votes are hand counted, and you can look it up. But in every other county, supposedly we quote unquote lost by 60-40, 60-40, 60-40. To an individual who had no lawn signs, no campaign, didn't raise any money, no organization, no volunteers, nothing. Unlike us, we had 20,000 plus donations, nearly 3,000 volunteers signed up, over nearly 10,000 lawn signs, 20,000 bumper stickers. We took out $750,000 in advertising all over the state. So just think about it. You're running a business, you have a great product, you spend millions of dollars in advertising, and another fool has a restaurant, which is a shack, which is selling cockroaches, and doesn't spend anything. How does a guy like that win? Exactly. Write-in Shiva for Senate. Well, it's not possible unless the guy is a marketing genius, which this fool isn't. If you look at him, he sounds like a dope and can barely speak. He's another very stupid lawyer, and a dumb lawyer. In fact, other lawyers who worked with him said he was one of the dumbest lawyers that they'd ever met. That's what you have. But this is the kind of person that Charlie Baker chose to lose to a guy called Ed Markey. Ed Markey, who's been there for 47 years, but it's another lawyer. So when we built a bottoms-up movement, what occurs in the United States is they do not want us coming bottoms up. So they want doofus 1 or doofus 2. It's called controlled democracy. It's not real democracy. And my entire life has been about solving problems, finding the problem, and finding solutions. That's why you need to write in Shiva for Senate. Those of you who truly care need to take your pen, the pen is mightier than the sword, and write in Dr. Shiva for Senate. If you choose any of those other two people, you're basically slitting your throat. Okay? That's what you're doing. You're slitting your throat by voting for any of the other fools. You're basically saying, I'm a cow going to slaughter. And what we're offering you with the write-in campaign is the opportunity. We're opening the gate. You're on the way to the slaughterhouse to vote for a Republican or Democrat. And we're opening the gate to give you the opportunity for freedom, which is to fight. And this campaign is not just a campaign for winning a U.S. Senate seat. It is an opportunity to mobilize a movement. We're here on Malcolm X Boulevard. Malcolm X was mobilizing a movement. That's what Malcolm X was, bottoms up. And he did not like the liberal white elites. He called them the devils. All right? Now we have a multiracial liberal aristocracy. It's not just whites. It's the Obamas, it's the Clintons, it's the Elizabeth Warrens, all of them. And the bottom line is Malcolm X was building a bottoms-up movement. And the Kennedys, another one of the biggest scumbags in modern history. You know, they do nice photographs of the Kennedys, but the Kennedys are fundamentally the not-so-obvious establishment. And when the civil rights movement was taking place, they did not want to support Malcolm X, so they chose a guy called Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King had a lot of stuff going on in his background. You know, women, drugs, all. Malcolm was clean, if you remember. Right? Brother Malcolm was absolutely clean. They did not want Malcolm. They chose Martin Luther King to mislead the United States civil rights movement into the ground. What did black people get out of it? The condition of black people today in the United States is worse than it was before civil rights. You have black people in inner cities whose illiteracy level is higher than it was before civil rights. $53 trillion got spent. A lot of Aunt Jemimas, a lot of Uncle Toms made a lot of money off of this. But everyday black people, working people got zero. They got completely screwed. And today they want to make it a fight about blacks versus the police. This is just black versus white fighting, so we do not unite against the establishment. The real enemy is the establishment. Malcolm X gave a famous speech 2 weeks before he was shot, which said, I believe there will ultimately be a clash between the oppressed and those who do the oppressing, but it will not be based on the color of the skin. I'll repeat that. He said, I believe there will ultimately be a clash between the oppressed and those who do the oppressing, and it will not be based on the color of the skin. Malcolm X was initially a black nationalist. Nothing wrong with nationalism. We support it. But then he went through his evolution and he realized that the establishment wanted to pit blacks against poor whites. Now blacks against police. That's the goal, right? Always pit one establishment group against the other, or one group against the other. So we never understand that the real enemy is the establishment, black and white, left and right, Republican and Democrat. That's what's fundamentally going on. So to me, it's a great honor to be here at Malcolm X Boulevard. Jerry, you may just want to shoot that. When I was in 9th grade, I had an amazing history school teacher. He was my baseball coach too. And he did something interesting. He goes, no matter what positive grade, even if you got an A+, he wouldn't give you an A+ unless you had to read an extra credit book, and he had a list of books. Well, I chose the autobiography of Malcolm X. It's a great book if you haven't read it. It's a great book, but it's basically about an individual who came from nothing, bottoms up, and went through his own evolution. And that's what our campaign is. Our write-in campaign is basically saying, stop voting for idiots, stop being taken for a ride, as Malcolm would say, stop being flim-flammed and hoodwinked. Okay? And that's what our movement is about. It's about writing in. When you take your pen and you write and you're saying to hell with the Democrats and Republicans, that you're saying that I stand for truth, freedom, and health. You stand with people like Malcolm X. Malcolm X recognized that the liberal elite, the white liberals in particular, and the black liberals today are the enemies of all working people, black and white. That's who they are. So it's no longer about black and white, blacks versus the police. It's about the establishment in here in Massachusetts, be it Charlie Baker, be it the Massachusetts GOP, who are a bunch of scumbags who never wanted a guy like me. They're actually racist. Just like the Democrats are racist. Democrats and Republican establishment parties are both parties of racism in Massachusetts. They thrive off racism. And racism, by the way, as I've said, is dividing black and white. That's the real racism. Using race to divide people. And that's what we have to stop. We have to recognize that we have one enemy. And that enemy is those people who use race to divide us and who squeeze the working people. That's what this is about. And so this movement is about truth, freedom, and health. So you got to write in, but as you're getting your ballots, I suggest people go to the polls to actually physically vote, but you got to write in Dr.SHIVA for Senate. It's very easy. DR.SHIVA as in victory, A for Senate. Anyway, that's the message. Do not be defrauded anymore, and let's honor the life and legacy of Malcolm X, who was one of us, bottoms up. Bottoms up. No more Kennedys. Wake up to the not-so-obvious establishment. That's what you have to wake up to. Democrat establishment, Republican establishment, they do not represent lowercase Democrat or lowercase Republican. They do not represent the working people. It's time to wake up. But again, let me repeat, if you vote for them, Republican or Democrat, you're slitting your own throat. Do not vote for them. Write in Shiva for Senate. Thank you, everyone. Be well. We're going to go to our next stop. Thank you. Jerry, you want to just get a pan of everyone? Yeah.
All right. Excellent.